Hi, everyone. Drew Roberts here with Milwaukee Real Producers. Today, we are going to be talking to one of our photographers and partners of Milwaukee Real Producers, Cam Langendorf with Varitay Studios. So super excited to talk with Cam a little bit more and give her the chance to tell us a little bit more about herself and her business. So Cam, I really appreciate you taking the time today, and I'm excited to talk to you a little bit more about you and your business.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to talk to you. We always have a good time chatting.
Very much so. Well, I'd love to jump in a little bit. I love to give everybody an opportunity to learn a little bit more about you and kind of how you got into photography and just your business overall. But I guess if you could tell everybody a little bit more about yourself, that'd be great.
I wasn't expecting that. I have, that's a hard question. Because you know why? We just talked about this. I identify myself so much as a business owner and photographer. I have a crazy cool house on Lake Michigan that is, it's like the biggest blessing. I have two boys one's graduating this year. He's going to be a freshman next year. And I have a freshman in high school as well. So two boys and happy little life. I love it. And but most of my time and focus is obviously on the business. So that's kind of, unfortunately or fortunately, when you work with your passion, it sort of takes over your whole life.
Sure.
But it's kind of a good thing. So that's good. So.
Very much so. And so you're located in Racine, Wisconsin, but I know you obviously shoot a lot of Cam. So just so everybody knows, so Cam is the individual that shoots all of our covers for Milwaukee Real Producers. So she just does an absolutely phenomenal job. I'm pretty sure I've gotten like a million compliments on the photography that she does for us, which is always welcoming. But can tell us a little bit more, Cam, about kind of the different areas that you work in, the individuals or companies that you like to work with. Tell us a little bit more about Varitay and those different areas of your business.
So the short or long story is I've been in business as a photography studio owner for 15 years. I'm on my third studio. I've had to move a couple times because of either growth or circumstances. And I'm in a great studio right in Downtown Racine. And kind of the short story and how I got into photography is I was a physical therapist for 12 years and had this kind of strong hobby in photography. And as I was working in the field of physical therapy, which I loved, I liked it plus. How about that? But it was there was something about it that was clearly not fulfilling me. I think I'm I don't want to say an overachiever, but I'm someone that needs to be challenged. And it's not that the field wasn't challenging, that wasn't it, but I wasn't motivated to be like excellent in it. And I was good at it. I was really good at it. But I wasn't excellent. And I think kind of a few years into my profession, I started to kind of feel depressed going to work. It was just a feeling of I just didn't feel right. And I found myself dreaming about taking pictures. So it just sort of evolved. Like the two kind of were like waves, that kind of just crossed. And now I'm no longer a therapist, although I could still, help people with their back issues and hamstring TFL, and I could still do all that stuff. I just do it now for free.
Sure.
So, the choice was a big choice to make, but it was seamless. Like it was a easy choice in the energetics of it. Like it felt like it was right, but it's a hard choice to make to switch from something and go into something like a small business, which is extremely rewarding, but it's also extremely challenging. The benefits of being a small business owner is, and especially a sole owner, is that you get all the accolades, but you get all the hard stuff, and the challenges are all on you. So that's kind of my journey into how I got into into a studio in Downtown Racine. But
cool.
Yeah, as far as my
I was gonna say, tell us a little bit more too, because like obviously you work with a lot of you work with our top agents. You do a lot of all of our shoots and things like that, which do incorporate either large teams or their family shots and things like that. But tell us a little bit more about some of the different areas that you work in, because I know you work in more areas than just shooting just shooting the covers for Milwaukee Real Producers.
Yeah. So basically, I would say that it's probably a 50-50 split, and I would say that I shoot 50% business publicity and 50%, which I would call contemporary portraiture. So, and the Milwaukee Real Producers covers kind of fall into that. It's a personal branding. It's more than a headshot. It's more than, although I love doing headshots, and I put a lot into a headshot, but so a headshot kind of goes into that contemporary portraiture. It's more than a snapshot, I should say. It's,
Sure.
I work very quickly, but my sessions are not simple in the execution. Like, I can get done what I need to get done quickly, but it is every session I have, there has to be this little relationship and connection that develops in order for me to kind of, I mean, not to sound like heady, but sort of to let something else come into it. And and it does. If I just kind of sit back, it's like the only area in my life I'm truly zen is when that camera sits in front of me and it's a session and I know I have to deliver. It just, I don't know, it's seamless. That part of what I do is very, very seamless. It just sort of happens. And obviously it was a cultivation on my part. In the beginning, I loved looking at photos, and I loved the whole experience of a great portrait and looking at it and wondering how it happened, and not so much the lighting and the technical aspects of it, but how did that person just look so clearly natural and like they weren't actually being photographed. I think that's the essence of a really great image, is when it doesn't seem like it's a photograph. It just seems like there was a little fairy there that just happened to catch something. So anyway, that was intriguing to me. And when I started out, that doesn't happen. You're so nervous and you're so like trying so hard to get somebody to do that, and it doesn't happen. So that was a cultivation on my part, and it wasn't conscious. It just sort of happened, the more an experience. I shot a lot, so just get better at it.
And I can attest to that, because I was at some of the like the first photo shoots that we were doing for Real Producers, seeing you and like working with even just like one individual. But then there was a time, I think it was Michael Palega's shoot, where we shot, I think it was like 12 people, and you like were seeing things. I'm like looking at these people trying to figure out like what you're looking at, and you were like telling people to move in a certain way, and then like seeing the photographs, I'm like, holy cow, like I don't know how you were able to see that or do that. And I think that's one thing, like all of the top agents that you have shot for us have just said not only how awesome it is to work with you, but just the photography that you're able to produce and being able to get people feel comfortable, I think is the hardest thing. We did our engagement shoot with Trisha, and it was like awkward, right? Like the first like 10-15 minutes is always awkward. So anybody like yourself that can make people feel comfortable, I think that's really a testament to your ability when you're working with people, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think that's where the experiences come in. And it sounds manipulative. It's not. It's not at all. I mean, I honestly can say, and I've said this before, and it sounds so cheesy, but every person I shoot, every situation I'm in, there's a part of me that has to fall in love with what I'm seeing. And it doesn't have to. I do. It's weird. It's when someone agrees to a contract with me to let me take their photo, it's automatically like there's a contract of trust, and I trust myself that I'm going to authentically capture them as the best as I can. And it's again, it feels like not even me. It honestly, it's fun, and that's why. But it's energetically hard. Like after a session, I can't do sessions in a row. I can if I have to, but it's exhausting. But if I have a session, I kind of have to just, and then I can't think. My brain is just sort of, it's like I'm offline or whatever. So something, and that's super cool. That's super cool. But what's the best part about for me is I trust myself to nail it. every time. And if I ever don't nail it, I'll be the first one to be like, we are reshooting that. I was not in my game. But, you know, I kind of know, I don't let the situation or the session end until I know that we've nailed it, you know, because you need to, it's a relationship.
Definitely.
So,
yeah. And I think the one thing too, and you and I have had many conversations, obviously offline and things like that, but I think you obviously do, like you had said, kind of the individual portraits or headshots and things of that nature. But I think your experience and ability to also work with small companies and things of that nature has been awesome as well too.
Yeah, thanks. I got off track with you asked what the parts of my business were.
I think that's a huge part of your business though too, that a lot of businesses should know about, is like your ability to also shoot things that they need for their promotional, you know, marketing materials, things like that.
Exactly. So the other part of my business, the contemporary portraiture, and how that came about was, you know, starting with my kids, starting with friends and families. And I'm evolving to the point now where my ideal shoot is when I say contemporary portraiture, it's something a little bit different than that. It's something someone wants, that the goal of the subject is either, again, for a business promotion, or it's a transformation. It's something that's happened in their life, an honoring of themselves, an honoring of a moment. It's something that is extra special. And those are the ones I really like to do for that, the portraits. As far as business publicity, this is becoming even more of a passion for me because, again, that's why Drew and I can just, when you're in a small business, it's like taking your life's passion, which, okay, great. We like to work our passion, right? But then you got to monetize it. Then you got to make it like support you. So it's this really like polarizing thing of, you love it and it fills you, but then there's this fear based on the fact that, but it's got to also work for you. And that sounds like it should just intuitively happen. And sometimes it does, but that's the challenge. Anyway, so as a small business owner, they're putting so much of their blood, sweat, and tears into this organization or this business or this model or this product or service. And I think that, we get lost in all of that and forget that sometimes we have to, look at the imaging and how are we actually promoting ourselves, and why it's so beautiful to tell that story in your marketing. So I've done, since probably the last 6 or 8 months, I've done a lot of research in some of the businesses in Racine. And when I look at their websites, I know these are amazing companies. They've been around for 100 years. They have generations of, people that have worked there, or just a legacy, 40-year employees. And none of that is reflected in their website. And it's kind of this tired website, no photos. And if they are photos, they're terrible. And I was just like, man, that is not what that business represents. If you ask anyone in the community, that's not what it is. But that's our calling card. That's a calling card that people from the outside of our community, they're going to look at those things and what's the image? What's our self-image as a community? And that's why it's important for me to look at a business and go, take a look at you from the outside. Would you be impressed? And I've had to do the same thing. I just redid my website, and it's a hard process. And that's why for me, it's so easy. Let's go in and get some amazing photos of the proprietors, photos of you with your wife, photos of you engaging with your clients or your employees or your space or your exterior or anything that makes people understand that there's a human passion side behind what you're doing. Because I really believe most people that own businesses, at the core of it started with a really strong passion. It might have gotten lost, definitely. But
yeah, and I think you hit it on the head there. I think a lot of times too, as a small business owner, mid-sized business owner, right? A lot of times you're still doing a lot of day-to-day stuff, and so a lot of times those little things, they may be on your checklist to get done, but they kind of go to the wayside. They're not an A priority. They're kind of like a C or D, and so I think that's been really cool, just to also see your ability not to only work kind of one-on-one with people or, family portraits, things like that, but then also kind of bring to life some of these businesses like you were talking about in our community, and working more with them to a lot of times it does take somebody just to say, hey, like, I can provide this for you. And this is like, this is what everybody's perception is. Like, let me help you out a little bit. And I think you've done just a phenomenal job with that. So really cool, Cam. Well, I really appreciate you taking time today and giving us the chance just to learn a little bit more about you and Varitay and, just the things you're doing in the community with your business. So I want to give you a chance just to kind of say any final words to everybody that's watching, and then we'll wrap up our call here.
Awesome. Well, one of the things I've loved is working with you is actually meeting all of the realtors and their teams and getting myself up a little bit more into Milwaukee and west of Milwaukee, and everyone I've met, all the covers I've done, I feel like, they're like almost friends, and it's been awesome. And I think the types of photo shoots that I've done for them have been really cool. And I would love to leverage some of those those relationships into keeping up with, obviously, the realtors, and just even the events that you've had have been awesome. And the other thing I love about the Milwaukee Real Producers concept, because being a photographer, I'm not super familiar with how the real estate world works. And when I was at one of the events, I kind of said, I go, aren't you guys like all competitors? Like, how are you guys all like, hey? and I love it, because they're like, yeah. And again, your events, these are like the top tier, right? So these are the people that aren't concerned about competition so much. And they're like, yeah, but it's so much easier to do our jobs and to make our transactions, and when we work collaborative with each other. And I know there's vendor relationships too, but between the realtors is where I've been really impressed with the actual collaboration and just respect that they have for each other, and that they want to just, make the industry in our state be really great. And that's very clear and evident for me when I've been at those events. So I think that's really cool.
Real estate it's a really crazy industry, because agents can be going for a listing and they're competing for that listing, right? So they're in competition, but one agent gets that listing, and then the agent that was competing against them may be bringing the buyer. Now they have to work together. And so I think you just hit on a really awesome point just with our platform overall. But I think it's been really cool to see Real Producers go from just like a magazine and events to kind of a community of top agents, top businesses that are truly just helping each other grow and build their businesses, individually, but also collaboratively. And I think that's what happens when you kind of get a lot of very like-minded individuals in the same room, reading the same magazine, telling stories, things of that nature. And I think it's been really cool to see that evolve. And I'm excited to see kind of where, in a year from now, where it even goes farther, which is really cool. So, okay, and thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say the whole, I get the comment a lot from people asking me about like, oh, there's another studio opening up, or there's a photographer, this photographer did this or this, and there's, back when I was a little bit younger in my business, sure, there was a little bit of like, why did they come to me? And now there's just, it's gone. And I don't know why that is. I think it's because I realized that I'm not competing with other photographers. I'm competing with people that should be willing to have good photos and realize the craft behind taking a good photo. So it's similar. You're kind of like more competing with, people selling it themselves, or there's something to be said for trusting the people and the professionals in the industry to do their job. It makes the whole industry work better. So that's, it's like, again, that the art of collaboration in any industry, I think, is always a good thing. And when you get competitive, it doesn't work. It's not going to last. Let's just say that,
Very much so. Very much so. Awesome. Well, Cam, I appreciate your time as always. And I just, thank you for all that you've done so far with Milwaukee Real Producers. You've just been awesome to work with, and I look forward to working with you for a very long time. So
yeah,
thanks for your time today and just everything you do for Milwaukee Real Producers. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, Drew.